Dr. Michael Mosley discussed the health benefits of time-restricted eating on his BBC Radio 4 podcast. The host explained that this method can help prevent conditions including type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. One of the guest experts on this episode also revealed a surprising drink that this method should avoid. Time-restricted eating describes an eating method limited to only a certain number of hours each day. It typically involves a period of fasting. The Just One Thing host opened the podcast by sitting down with his family to have supper at 7 o'clock. He said, "I won't be eating again until 9:30 tomorrow morning. In other words, I'm going to spend the next 14 hours or so without eating or drinking anything but black tea or water." High cholesterol, the very common vitamin deficiency linked to higher risk of condition. Drinks like water, tea and coffee are usually the only thing allowed during the fasting period. However, a podcast guest, Dr. Emily Manoogian, a chronobiologist and clinical researcher at the Salk Institute, warns there is one drink you should skip. Dr. Mosley asked the guest about time-restricted eating and the rules. How tough do you have to be? For example, am I allowed a tea with some milk in it or coffee with milk in it first thing in the morning? Manoogian responded, "Something like milk, I would say that's a hard no." High cholesterol, the very common vitamin deficiency linked to higher risk of condition. In former dementia diet, the common food type you should eat every day to lower dementia risk, inside type 2 diabetes, the breakfast drink that keeps blood sugar levels low even after lunch. Informer, the guest doctor added, "I will say there are many clinical trials that do allow for black coffee and black teas, but there is a little bit of debate about how caffeine affects glucose regulation." Her advice for practicing time-restricted eating effectively is sticking only to water. Hot water or cold water, whatever kind of water you want. Not sparkling, just plain water, outside of your eating window, she explained. Why is time-restricted eating beneficial? Research has showed that this method can lower your blood pressure, cut your risk of developing diabetes and even help with weight loss. A study from 2019, carried out by researchers from the Salk Institute in California, found that when men and women, who were overweight with raised blood pressure and raised blood sugars, were asked to fast overnight for 14 hours, they not only lost an average of half a stone over the course of 3 months, said Dr. Mosley, but they also saw significant improvements in their blood pressure and their cholesterol. The doctor then mentioned that another small study by Surrey University found that eating a later breakfast and an earlier dinner led to positive improvements in blood sugar and cholesterol levels after just 10 weeks. The podcast host also explained that the reason why eating your dinner earlier and your breakfast later could be beneficial is because of our internal body clocks that drive our circadian rhythms. Eating late at night messes with your internal body clock and can even cause inflammation, the podcast reported. How to do time-restricted eating. Dr. Manoogian advised, choose an 8 to 10 hour eating window, that works for you and your schedule, that you can stick to every day. Make sure that window starts at least 1 to 2 hours after you wake up, and make sure it ends at least 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed if possible. Other research also suggests that eating dinner early and breakfast late is the most effective time when you want to cut risk of conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure. Based on Dr. Manoogian's advice, it might also be worth ditching milk and coffee during the fasting times to achieve a successful time-restricted eating technique.